Good evening, everyone. I'm on my own, guys. So, a woman I met in London sent me that cup about 3 years ago. The pissed off Patriot, and I've still got it. Right, Mr. Rimmer's here. Good evening, Mr. Rimmer.
Evening, Mr. Lawrence.
Pat will be on in just a minute.
Yeah.
Good evening, Serena Budgie Burger. She's on YouTube. Welcome to the show, everyone. We're just going to be doing a party and campaign update. And I think we've got some data from Pat today. Have we got some data tonight, Pat?
Yes, got some data. Just got in from Canvas.
Party data.
Yeah.
Right, excellent.
Well, my campaign update.
The great campaign.
So that's tonight, guys. Thank you very much. So it'll probably be a short one, but as you know, we've been heading to the Wirral doing a campaign there. Pat's also been doing a campaign in London, and he has had some new help, I think, haven't you?
Yeah.
Good.
Two new people involved. Just got in the door from canvassing tonight. Got two new people on postal vote. Got a new person registered as well. She wasn't registered, so I had the forms on me. I've given her the forms to get registered so she can vote for me when the election comes. But let me know when you want the data.
Right, so you heard Pat there, but thank you for joining us on the stream tonight. Obviously, in our descriptions, you can see our social media. Please link up to them. And thank you, Mark Williams. I've seen a donation come through from you again, my regular donator. Thank you very much, Mark. We'll get you on a stream sometime, or maybe one of our monthly streams, and you can see how things are going. We had a good party update stream meeting last night. We talked about a couple of issues in the Wirral. We talked about how we're going forward with the party. And a few other things. Membership cards now are going out to people who signed up, so they will be getting them, which is all good. So that's all good on that front. Website still needs a little bit more work doing to it, but it is up. You can join through there, and of course join our social media. We set up a Rumble channel, so please join the Rumble channel. That is going to be advertising, maybe some money for us if we can get some viewers on it. So I will put the link in the chat, and then you can see from there. So without further ado, let's continue. Pat.
Yeah. Thank you, John. This is what it's all about, guys. This is what we started the party for. Local elections. I started campaigning last year in my ward. My election was last year in May 2022, and I stood in the election just to provide a good example for other people to follow, because we need to encourage people to stand in local elections. I didn't think I was going to have much chance in my local area, because it's a Labour hotbed, and Labour have won the local elections in my area for the last 70 years with no challenge from anyone. So it was a practice thing, really, to learn how to do the forms and the applications, getting the signatures to stand, etc. And I went for it, and it was a pleasant surprise, really. It was a very liberating experience, because I had a lot of stuff inside me that I wanted to get out, what we campaign on, and I managed to put it all on the leaflet. I've done a massive leaflet. It was a really big leaflet, bigger than usual, and I only campaigned for 2 months, and I got an amazing response, and I got 214 votes, just just campaigning for 2 months, knocking on doors, and it was such a good response. It kind of encouraged me to really go for it the next time. I wasn't planning on doing it. So about 3 or 4 months ago, I decided I was going to go for it with my local election campaign, and I printed up a thank you leaflet to my voters who voted for me, and I've been out campaigning again for the last 2 or 3 months. So I would say, all in all, maximum, I've been out campaigning in my area, in my local area, which is in Camden, South Camden, south of the borough. I've got about 8 tower blocks in my ward. There's a lot of council estates, and so I've been campaigning for about 5 months, and out of the 5 months, including because what I did, the people who said they was going to vote for me for the last election, I haven't bothered knocking on their doors because they've said that they're going to vote for me already. So I'm just trying to, because there's so many doors we got to get to. It's just like 8,000 voters in my ward, and it's a massive mountain to climb. So I've done a count up yesterday. I counted up all the yeses, all the maybes, and all the nos. So I've all in all, in 5 months knocking on door, I've had 176 yeses. Now, when I got my 214 votes last year, I had about 132 yeses, and that turned into 214 votes. So all those people who said yes, they're going to vote for me, they tell their friends, they tell their family members to vote for me and things like that. So at the moment, total, I've got 176 yeses. I've got 107 maybes. Now, maybes, for anyone who doesn't know, is you leaflet the area, and then once you've leafleted the ward, you go knocking on doors. You knock on the door, you say, hello, did you get the leaflet? Sometimes they say yes, and they might say, yeah, I read that, I agree with that, I'll vote for you. So you put down a yes, but a lot of the time they do say, no, I didn't get it. And then you have to quickly go through it on the doorstep at that moment. And sometimes they agree with most of it. And then, because they don't want to commit on the spot, you say, so potentially you'd vote for me, yeah? And they say, yeah. I say, okay, then I'm going to put a maybe down. I'm going to come back after you've read the leaflet to make sure. So I've had 107 maybes. I've had 67 no's. So there's 67 point blank no's, which is good because that's 67 doors I don't go back to. I'm not going to be bothering knocking on those doors again. And also, some more data. I've got, so usually when you go canvassing, you'll see, if you're doing it properly, you're going to put down on your sheets who's on a postal vote and who's not on a postal vote. People on postal votes are the most important people on the sheets because they are the most likely to vote, because they're going to get the ballot posted to their house 3 weeks before the election, and they are most likely to vote. So we want to get our supporters onto the postal vote. So since I've been campaigning this time, I've got 24 people applied for a postal vote, because those 24 people said they're definitely going to vote for me, and it's looking good. I mean, my election's not till May 2026, but as I just said, I've got a massive mountain to climb, and the way things are going, I could get a good vote. I'm not going to say I'm going to win it. Anything can happen, but the message I'm getting on the doorstep is they absolutely hate Labour. People are so sick of Labour. All we got to do is just get round and speak to them and tell them we're standing, and they're going to vote for you.
Well, we went to the Wirral, didn't we, last week? And we had a team on the Wirral. We had 6 of us. I think it was 6, yeah. 4 gentlemen and 2 ladies. And it makes a huge impact when you can get 6 people on the campaign trail. It makes a big difference. Now, I knocked on people's doors in flats and in multi-story flats. And people are hungry to interact with somebody about politics and about what's happening in society. I mean, they'd never seen their Labour councillor. They'd never seen their local MP. They felt totally disenfranchised and excluded from the process. But simply by going round, saying, if you read our leaflet, then we went through various issues, immigration, its impact on housing especially. Housing is an issue for everybody. I began to realize that. When I knocked on people's doors, they were saying, we've got damp in the bedroom. I'm living in a one-bedroom flat with 2 children. 3 of us are living alone in a one-bedroom flat. They talked to, there was older people who had children who couldn't get accommodation. There was a real sort of issue of shortage of accommodation in Britain, shortage of available housing. And then you tie that up with the fact that immigrants are coming in. I mean, in the Wirral area itself, they've just built 24 houses for Afghan immigrants. And this is why thousands of people in the Wirral are on the housing list, desperate for housing, and have been for years. And yet they're building houses for Afghan immigrants. And the people are saying, well, don't we count anymore in our own country? It's not that we're second-class citizens. It's like we don't exist. No one's interested in us anymore. And I was saying to people, look, if you vote Labour in this Labour Council, they will never listen to you. The only way you can make them listen is to vote for a party like the National Housing Party of the UK and become a protest vote at least. And if we can get someone on the council or any council, we can raise these issues in the council chamber. We will be your representative. And this is what I said to people. And man alive, their eyes lit up. They were so, yeah, this is what we need. And people were telling me their life problems. I mean, I spoke to maybe 40 people. I got 7 yeses, 6 maybes. I got people who are saying, we will help you post leaflets. Met one guy, Gwyn. He'd actually seen my YouTube channel and knew about the National Housing Party. And he put the leaflet, the National Housing Party leaflet, above his fireplace in a private place. He said, this is what we need in the Wirral. So there's people are hungry for a new party, for new voices. And that's what we represent, something new, fresh air. Now, things are moving politically very quickly at the moment. There's going to be a general election next year. People want issues addressed. People are desperate. Because it's not only people in social housing that are suffering, it's people in the private sector. Spoke to people whose mortgages have gone through the roof. They cannot afford their mortgages. Spoke to a woman, she said, I'm going to have to leave this house. I'm just going to have to leave the keys and walk. I can't pay the mortgage. You know, we've got to put our own people first. This is what politicians are there for. Like a father looks after his family. I always use this analogy. Politicians are there to serve the British people. They're not there to look after the whole world. Just as a father is not there to look after every family in the world. He's there to look after his own family. Our politicians are there to look after the British people, to put the British people first. Now, we've been betrayed by the Tories on immigration. Tony Blair opened the floodgates on immigration. We're not sure how many people have come in since 1997. It's 15 million in that area. And it's saturated not only the housing, but education, the welfare state. Education is another important issue that people raise on the doorstep. They don't like what's being taught in schools, especially sex education. They're very disturbed by this. And we need to address that because there's no democracy here. People, the teachers and the politicians don't listen to the parents. They just push these extremist agendas onto our kids. And that's another issue that was red flagged on the doorstep. But there's a third issue, Pat, and I don't know if you're aware of this. Wirral are now about to introduce the 20-mile-per-hour zones across the peninsula. And people are saying, what? We can't drive at 25 miles an hour on the Wirral. A lot of the Wirral is open roads, you know. So this is another big issue, the attack on the motorist. And, of course, the whole farce of the green agenda with the climate hoax. People have woken up to how many hoaxes are going on in this country. And it's all about fleecing the taxpayer, whether it's wars overseas, whether it's scamdemics, whether it's the climate change nonsense. People want answers to these issues, and it affects them in the minutiae of their lives, whether they can have a boiler in the flat, you know, whether they can use their gas oven, gas stove. how they drive their cars. Are they going to have to put up with 15-minute cities? The politicians have got all these issues on the agenda, and someone's got to kick back. And this is why we need a local activist party like the National Housing Party. And that is why we're getting so many inquiries and new members now. This party is growing rapidly. It's like a mushroom. We're taking off. Every day now, there's new members approaching us and joining. And then we're going to create branches right across this country. We've got new contacts now in places like Hull, Richmond. Where else, Pat? It's all over the country, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got them in Scotland, Ireland, everywhere.
So,
John, what's your response to? Go on, Pat.
I was going to say, the 20 miles an hour in the Wirral, they're going to have problems with that because Wirral is quite a wide space and people need their cars. And this is a Labour. I always say, all this climate, ULEZ, congestion charge, 20 miles per hour. It's like a communist scorched earth policy by the Khmer Rouge, 1978 in Cambodia. They want to take us back to the year zero and bring everything to a standstill. There's this backwards mindset of communism that just wants to crush everything positive. And this 20 miles an hour is sickening. It's just so many people are sick of it. They've done it in Wales. They've done it in London. Now they're going to do it in all the boroughs and councils that are controlled by Labour. And it's going to be the final nail in their coffin. I really do believe that. And like I say, there's definitely connections to this communist extremism. Like in Cambodia, like everyone, for people who don't know, the Khmer Rouge, led by Pol Pot, was an extremist communist dictatorship. They basically executed anyone with any education. They stopped all people using machines and computers and had everyone back in the fields. And their policy was to go back to the year zero. We're going to start again and take away Christ and everything like that. So it's quite sinister what they're doing, all these 20 miles an hour, because the motor car really liberated our society to make life easier for everyone. In London, they built thousands of roads and streets and lanes and back streets to make life easier for people within the city. And Labour are now closing all these streets and cut-throughs and roads what make it easier for people to get around. I mean, they're just insane, these people. And many people in the central London where I'm standing, they're very lonely. The elderly, the disabled, because their family members don't want to drive in anymore to visit them. Also, the tradesmen, carpenters, electricians, they don't want to come into central London anymore. So it's very difficult to get work done on your property in central London now. So it's all going to be the final nail in their coffin, I think, because everybody hated them anyway. Over to you, John.
Well, I mean, it's not going too well in Oldham for Labour or Conservative. Both groups are losing votes. As we know, the 3 Conservative councillors in Hollingwood have been suspended for going to Palestine protests. People aren't happy here and there. I get the same that Pat says at the doorway about Labour and the Conservatives. So in the Wirral the other day when I was delivering, I said to this guy, he's doing a garden, said, political party, mate, said, as long as you're not Labour or Tory or Lib Dem, I'm none of them, mate, and I think you'll very much like my leaflet when you see it. He just glanced at the leaflet and liked it, and we've had a few people like that. But, they're disenfranchised because we don't have any other political party to go for. Now, you can bring up reform, but it's just made of ex-Tories. And if they were in the Tory party right now, they would be doing the same, following whatever Sunak does, for the sake of the Lord or whatever. So, no, we don't want these people in. We want proper working class people in like ourselves. So, yeah, we've been quite successful on the Wirral. And obviously in Oldham, I've been supporting residents with a 7-year grievance against Avro Football Club that's supposed to coach kids and stuff like that. A 7-year grievance of antisocial behaviour, intimidation that the general public have had. So I went to a meeting the other week with 5 people in this public group And one of them since then has joined the party officially, Ronnie. So thank you, Ronnie. And so I've got more work to do down there. Over the past few months in between the last election, I supported a couple of Oldham residents with various issues. In Ollingwood, tonight sent off an email to Oldham Council about a vulnerable resident and her grievances with the council. And I supported a woman, a 40-year-old woman who was she's vulnerable. I supported her to get her a new place with a couple of trips to the council and some other emails. So yeah, you know, I'm doing my thing, building up my vote. Got another 3 years, me. Then that on my last year, that's when I want to be smashing it, knocking on everyone's door, and hopefully get my seat around there. But yeah, it's good. It's good nationally. All over
That's
the
what
country.
we need, John. We need that active citizenship. We need people to get involved. Now, we're a party that started at the grassroots level. Reform, they started with a lot of money. So it did these other parties that have formed. They've got money in the bank and they're built from the top down. You try and get a big personality like Richard or Nigel Farage, and they use that to start to kickstart the party. But they're still remote from the electors. They don't go out campaigning on the street. We need a streetwise party, a street level party, a party of the people, for the people, by the people. And that's what we've got in the National Housing Party. And we've got that because of that. It's great when we get together. There's a great spirit, a great camaraderie amongst all the members. And people want to meet up. We're going to have more public meetings. But the thing is, we need to campaign. So if you would like to stand in a local election seat, we will campaign with you. We've got teams of activists now that can go around the country. We can leaflet with you. We can canvass. We're not afraid to knock on doors because the reception we get when we knock on doors is very, very positive. People see that we're just ordinary people and we're concerned about real life issues, bread and butter issues. But we've got a bigger vision than that. We're not afraid to say we must put a permanent end to permanent settlement immigration. We've had far, far too much immigration and it's got to stop completely. I mean, Reform is saying this is the way we process refugees. We do it offshore and we go through this rigmarole, that rigmarole. Our position is clear on refugees. No more refugees, full stop. We've taken enough. We've taken more than enough. We've been taken for a ride for far too long. And the cost, the sheer cost of immigration to this country is absolutely mind-blowing. It's hundreds of billions each year. Don't forget, 15 million people come into this country. 80% of them have never worked and have no intention to work. They come from third world countries. They're not used to the welfare state. So the idea that you get money for nothing, you get accommodation for nothing, you get education for nothing, you get healthcare for nothing, for them that's a win-win situation. They'll just stay on welfare benefits for their whole lives. And this is costing, this is draining our country. This is the reason why taxes are so high. This is the reason why government borrowing is so high. This is the reason why it's so difficult now to access services in the welfare state. I mean, people are complaining that they're being fobbed off by hospitals and by GPs, that you know, they won't be seen for such a long time. The way they ration these resources is they form like a queue. And if you're just a local person, you go to the back of the queue. And this, as I said, this is already the same for housing. There is a desperate shortage of housing in this country now. There's 1 million people waiting for social housing. But the cost of rents and the cost of buying properties has gone through the roof. There's too much demand now, too much demand. Why? If there's too much demand for housing and there's no major house building program underway, and of course we don't want to lose our green belts anyway, we don't want to lose the English countryside. Why, if there's such a housing crisis, are they allowing over 1 million people to enter our country every year? I mean, they're turning a housing crisis into a housing disaster. Now, the Tories have to respond to the pressure on immigration. Matthew Collins has said there's only 3 issues now in British politics: immigration, immigration, immigration. It's got to be stopped. One, Pat.
Who said that?
Matthew Collins, a social scientist, political commentator.
You mean Matthew Goodwin?
Oh, Matthew Goodwin, sorry, yeah. Collins,
Yeah.
Michael Collins.
Yeah.
Been watching too much Irish stuff, Pat. Matthew
thought-
Goodwin. Well, thank you for that, Pat.
I thought you meant, is it?
Matthew Collins, not here.
Yes. Get the right Matthew.
But we was going to bring up the tragic story of the man who froze to death in sleeping in the car in Nottingham. I don't know if you heard about this, Paul.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
It's the second one in the last 6 months, I think. One froze to death in a doorway in Manchester area, and this other individual froze to death sleeping in a car. Now, I've just done a quick Google search, and there's an estimated 12,300 people living in street doorways of the UK, and there's also 12,000 people living in cars now. Like, that is just unbelievable. And like Paul just said, there's another 1 million people waiting for social housing, and people like Reform UK still campaign to accept refugees into this country. I mean, what planet are these people on? Why can't they just come out and say, look, no, we need to send a message out now to the world: no more refugees for citizenship. It's over. We've helped enough people. It is over. But,
Politically correct. They won't do it.
Everybody seems to still support them, and everybody wants refugees to stop coming here. But in the Reform UK, their six-point plan, number 6, they clearly say they want to set up offshore processing centres to flood yet more refugees into this country. And I just don't understand it. We've got 12,000 people living in cars in this country, and they can't bring themselves to say, well, actually, these 12,000 in the cars should be prioritised before the refugees. I mean, it's a disgrace, John. What do you think?
Of course it is. Andy Burnham when he first got elected, said he'd end homelessness and didn't do it. It's a disgrace. You know, we've got we're lucky us. We've got a murder and crime commission, a murder and crime candidate who's singing outside the box. So we're lucky. Yeah, I haven't seen it in London, but we're lucky.
This guy,
it's Nick Buckley. Nick Buckley's called, and he knows what cancellation is. He got cancelled for putting up a blog about Black Lives Matter and defunding the police and that, and he got sacked from his charity. It's all on my video. But anyway, so you know, like, besides the homeless, we've got veterans who don't get enough help, whether it be mental health, doctors and stuff like that. Doctors, our dentists, every institution that's for the public is full up to bursting, overflowing, cost extortionate amount of money to run because it's all being wasted, you know, and we need to do something. And you know, the homeless is a big issue. It's a big national issue, and it needs sorting out. Now, what Nick was saying is that he'll get these people off the streets, and once they're off the streets, that's when you can start having one-to-ones with them. You can, you know, find out what's wrong with them, get mental health person going round, see what he wants to do. But while they're on the streets, you can't do that. It's hard. It's impossible to do that. But once they've got accommodation, whether it's for a night, a week, or whatever, they can get onto them, find out the difficulties, find out what's wrong with these people. There is alcoholics and drug users, but this is what he said. He said no mayor or no council will put their hands up and said that, like, these places where they want them to sleep are safe places. Nobody will die. What Nick's saying, he's going to let them take drugs, whatever they want to do. It's going to be illegal. You'll get caught. If you get caught, you'll get a charge, but he's not going to be searching for it. And once he gets into that position, he's more better had set up to help these people. And this is coming from a man who's worked with the homeless. This is coming from a man who's worked with shelters. And this is what we need. We need more people to step up and say, you'll never hear Andy Burnham saying anything like that. He won't go for it because someone dies. Oh, Andy Burnham, you're a killer. And all. He's just got no bottle to accept that, you know, things don't fail, things don't fail. And that's a lot of our politicians. They don't accept accountability for the failings. But no, the homeless issue is an absolute disgrace. And everyone we talk to in every ward, Pat's ward, the Wirral, South Gloucester, Oldham, everyone brings up homelessness. That everyone brings it up, you know. And
well, homelessness in a way, John, is the tip of the iceberg because it's a problem with accommodation. It's a real tragedy when you go and visit people and an old lady comes to the door and you're saying, are you going to vote for us in the local elections? We want to deal with this housing issue and immigration. And they'll say to you, well, my daughter lives and her boyfriend live in a top bedroom with the 2 kids. And they've been waiting for 2 years to get any social. They've been on the housing ladder for social housing. And they can't afford the private sector. The private sector, people are in desperate situations. It's so expensive now. People's income has not kept up with rents. And I mean, if you live in London, the proportion of if you have to rent, the proportion of your income on rent is just incredible. My 2 daughters have actually had to leave London because the rents are astronomical. But you're talking there about homelessness. I mean, I talk to the guys in Liverpool. I've got a mate, Mick, who's on the streets. He's desperate for accommodation. He's not an alcoholic. He's just desperate for accommodation. And I meet people who are in these hotels. Some of the hotels are pretty shabby, to be honest. And they've you know, the domestic situations, broken families. In the past, there was social housing available for them. But if you bring in 15 million immigrants since 1997, and you give them priority for social housing, you find in the British people are now being just left and excluded. We are a Christian nationalist party. We care about people, not just about housing people, but about recreating our communities as they once were. We remember when Britain was a place where people actually looked after each other. I remember growing up in Liverpool, and at the end of the week, a lot of people didn't have much money or had very little money. And they would go round and they would borrow a cup of sugar. People looked after each other. You could get things on tick in the shops. The local churches provided for people. You know, this was the nature of our society. We had real communities, but those communities have been lost because the attack upon our nation is upon the actual people of this. The networks that we had in the past, the social networks to support us. What they've tried to do is break up the family, turn the people away from genuine faith, turn people away from genuine social concern. The Labour Party have said, we'll step in, we'll fill the vacuum, but they haven't. All the Labour Party have done, all these social workers have done, all these sort of do-gooders, phonies have done, is enrich themselves. They've taken money, they call it social justice. They take money from hardworking people, supposedly to give to those in need, but actually it goes in their pockets. You know, we've just seen Glynis Kinnock. She died. She was known as a campaigner for social justice. She had six-figure pensions, over 100,000 a year. She had 6. And her and Neil Kinnock amassed a fortune of over £10 million in the European Parliament in Brussels. That's how much the Kinnocks are worth. The Kinnocks have raised the flag for social justice for decades, and the only social justice they produced is their own fortune. Now, Glynis Kinnock, she's passed away. May she rest in peace. May she, you know, but these people, these socialists who claim they're looking after our communities, they've destroyed our communities. They're pushing all these agendas in schools now, the transgender issues, which is about the mutilation and sterilization of our kids. They're pushing all sorts of sexual perversion. It's not on what they're doing. And sadly, a lot of the voices in the church are the wrong voices. But I think Christianity itself is about wholesome living. It's about community. It's about families. It's about people caring for each other. It's about love, ultimately. because we follow the King, Jesus Christ. And that's who reigns in our party. That's why this party is going from strength to strength, because we're a wholesome party and we stand for wholesome values. We don't stand for hate. We don't hate anybody. We love our country. We love our traditions. We love our heritage, and we love our people. And we're not prepared to see it slide down anymore. We're here to redeem this nation. Pat?
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting quite a lot of it on the doorstep about Christianity. I mean, people want Christianity back. They can see humanity sliding off the edge of the cliff, with Satan pushing us closer and closer to the edge. And like Paul says, Jesus Christ is the leader of the party. John is the leader on paper, but Jesus is all of our leader. So, you know, we need a moral direction. And this is why so many things have failed in the past, because they left out Jesus Christ, and humanity needs a book, a manual to follow, and that is the Bible. So if there is any Christians watching, please get in touch with us. You know, if you want to come to our Bible, I mean, this party is like full time. Every day I'm doing something now. It's like yesterday we had the officers meeting, very productive meeting. We discussed the housing crisis on the Wirral, a massive company called BiteChute, building company. They want to build loads of houses on the Wirral, and the Labour run Wirral Council rejected their application, but at the same time the Labour run council are saying refugees are welcome here and they're making the crisis worse, and then they're spending more money trying to stop this company building more housing, and it's just insane. So you know, that was Monday, that was yesterday, that was the officers meeting. And if you get involved with us and you know you want to get involved and do things and stuff, you will be invited to the officers meeting. And also tonight we've got the live stream every Tuesday, 8 o'clock, and I go canvassing, you know, twice a week. So I've been canvassing tonight. Tomorrow we've got a Bible study at 8 o'clock. So if anyone wants to join the Bible study, please email us, either John or myself. John can put the email addresses up there. But yeah, Christmas is coming, and we need to celebrate Christmas and, you know, spread the word of the glory of Jesus Christ. And you know, we need that moral direction from someone, and the only person who that can be is Jesus. And Jesus believes in nations. It clearly states in the Bible that the nations were put there by God, and that they have borders. And to basically, permanent settlement immigration is anti-Christian, in my opinion, because, you know, a nation means native people for that nation. So, you know, we've had a lot of immigration, but we don't want any more, because it's destroying our nation now. It's affecting our identity of a country. It's also we're losing our identity, we're losing our traditions. But one of the main things, what was attacked before all this happened, was Christianity, and that is the first target of the communists. They want to get Christianity out of the game. They've attacked it from all sides. But Jesus will rise again, and, you know, Jesus is leading this party, and you know, I think the future looks bright. And you know, I'd like to say hello to everyone in the chat. Budgie Burger, Callum, nice to see you there. Callum, Mark Williams, thanks for all your donations. Bobby Crush, good to see you.
Joker AI, thank you, mate. Just put 33 quid in tonight. Yeah. Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Joker, Big Vinny, good to see you there. Serena, Summertime Sue, Tinfoil Hatter, Craig, good to see you. And everyone, sorry if I missed anyone's name. So yeah, I mean, it's looking good. And yeah, we got a little drink up in London on Saturday night, another event. That's at 7 o'clock. Please contact us if you want to come to that. It's in central London, and it will be good to come and meet fellow members. We've got a few members coming from the southeast. It's not a national event, so, you know, we're just having a Christmas drink. We're not having speakers or anything like that, because someone from Hull wanted to come down. It's a bit too far to come down for that. So yeah, so get in touch with us. Emails are on the screen there. Either contact John or myself. If you want to come and have a Christmas drink, if you're in the southeast, that's on Saturday night, central London, 7 o'clock.
Is that cocktails, John, or is it just Pat, is that cocktails at 8, or is it just a half
well,
a bitter?
I don't actually drink alcohol, but there's a few people who don't drink alcohol, so don't worry if you don't drink alcohol. There's a couple of us there who don't drink, but if you do drink alcohol, make sure you come and have a good old Christmas drink up with us.
Excellent. John, what about your parties for Christmas?
Mate,
party season now.
I'm going camping, I think. I'm not sure where, though, whether it's Scampton or the PTSD camp, because Christmas is a time where I get about a week off and it's family, so I've got to make the most of that week. And I've been to the camp, PTSD camp, the past 2 Christmases on the run. So I could be down there again or at Scampton. I don't know yet. I don't know, but yeah, so, I mean, I'll be having a break, but I will be working. I'll have some leaflets with me. And anyone starts talking about anything, yeah, I'm in a political party. Yeah, there you go. There's my leaflet. While I was away the other week, a guy started mithering me about some advice to do with housing. And I said, listen, he said, I want to know if I can buy my house. Email your housing association and they'll tell you straight away. They'll tell you how much you'll get off because you've been a council tenant for so long, this, that, and the other. And I said to him, you'll get the information. And then 4 days later, he messaged me, you're right, John, they sent me the information. He sent me this. What you said was right. I just know. So, but yeah, it's a break for me because I won't be with my mum and there'll be no more late nights or anything. I'll be drinking, no doubt. Probably brandy, maybe a few lagers and that. Camp food as well, all homegrown food. So like the potatoes are homegrown, everything homegrown at camp. So I'll be farting well and I'll be eating well.
Who's strangling the turkey there, John?
Dion normally does that.
Let's like a sort of end of the year feel tonight, and we're in the festive season. I had a good night on Saturday night. I'd just like to say thanks to this guy Mick. We had a bucket there, for the door staff, and he's a homeless guy, and he put money in the bucket, and that's very rare that you see that from the homeless, being generous. But the Scouse homeless are breathing to themselves. But I think we should just take just a minute now, just to look back over the past year, Pat. Because it's been a very eventful year, hasn't it? We had the elections in May. We've seen we've had a few stumbles, but the party's gone from strength to strength. We've kept our meetings going. We've got a lot of new people on board. How many people have we seen? Scores of people have come into the party and have taken part in Bible studies, in meetings that we've had. We need to get more meetings in the year ahead. But in the year ahead, obviously, there's going to be a general election. There's elections across Europe for the European Parliament. There's obviously the big one in America, the presidential election. That's going to rock the world. So there's a lot of big things happening in the year ahead politically. And of course, we've still got this terrible war in the Ukraine, which we hope will come to an end soon, which is madness. And of course, in Palestine, we have this horrendous onslaught, which is just, we're seeing so many women and children killed. It's just deplorable. It's just not. I don't think it's justified in any sense. I mean, this level of butchery. I can understand people acting in self-defense, but within the Christmas season now, obviously, neither the Israelis nor the Palestinians, although there are Christian Palestinians, celebrate Christmas. But we pray for peace on earth. Pat, do you want to give a reflection over the past year?
Yeah, I mean, it's been nothing but just full steam ahead all the way. I mean, when me and John got the party registered, it was all kind of like, I mean, I hate to say it, but it was all like an accident. And the reason I started the party was to see how difficult it was to get a party registered. And the ball just started rolling. I mean, I went to John and, credit to John, no hesitation whatsoever. Will you be the leader? Yeah, of course I will. Straight away.
And John, you've been a brilliant leader, mate. You've been brilliant this year. Double thumbs up to John.
Yeah. I mean, John Lawrence leading the party, excellent service. Paul Rimmer leading the conversation on our weekly stream every single week. I'm doing my bits here and there, canvassing and leading the way with the standing in the local election. John is as well. You know, we've got a big team around us. There's quite a few people in the background who help us who are not members. You know, you don't have to be a member to help us. Obviously, we want everyone to join, and we want as many people to stand in elections as possible. But you know, we're just doing the right thing. We're political animals, every single one of us. That's all we think about is politics 24/7. That's why we're involved with this. And like I said, the ball started rolling, and it just didn't stop rolling. And it's like a snowball, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And we've
Talk about our presence on social media as well, Pat. Our presence on social media.
Yeah. I mean,
that's exploded.
Yeah, Northern Ireland page is doing well. We've got the Yorkshire page running well as well.
How many followers have you got on Twitter?
I've got 38,000 followers on my Twitter. YouTube's doing well as well. We've got the Rumble channel that's growing. We've got you, Paul. You do some good tweets. You've got like 2,500 followers. John's got 2,500, 3,000 followers. So yeah, we're very well known now, and we've been in multiple newspapers even before we got registered with the Blackwall Tunnel banner drop. You know, they was calling us the far right National Housing Party, which kind of makes
with your social presence, Pat, social media presence. It's not only that we've got 40,000 followers. You've had tweets which have had 500,000, 1 million plus hits. I mean, that's huge across the world. I mean, I remember when there was trouble in Knowsley with the asylum seekers pestering the kids sexually, and we put a tweet up, and it had more views than the BBC.
Yeah,
over 500,000 hits. And I think also, Pat, we should give credit to all the other people that have been involved over the past year. I'm thinking about Craig, who's been really generous with his lifts. I'm thinking about Callum, who's been our most successful candidate, stood in Gloucester.
Callum.
You know, and of course we lost our sister up in Scotland. Yeah, and Martin's done good work. Dave's done good work. Go on.
Also, Martin Osborne does a hell of work on the website. You know, hope he's watching. So thank you, Martin, for all the help you do. Obviously, Dave and Steph as well with the membership department. You know, there's some people we can't name and that, but there's a hell of a lot of people who are doing a hell of a lot of stuff. It's not just John, it's not just me, it's not just Paul Rimmer. You know.
What about the army that's just joined up, Pat? Angie's army. That's some army.
Yeah, I love that one. Angie's army. So yeah, shout out to Angie if you're watching. I think she's got a hell of a lot of potential. You know, if she puts the work in, she could give Labour a real good run for their money on the Wirral. And also some other people have helped leaflet up there, Jordan and
Danny Pagan stood there.
Yes, thanks to Gary if you're watching. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's like, you know, what people got to remember, you know, none of us get paid, right? We're doing this for our country. Like, that is what it is, yeah? Like, you're not doing it like if someone joins the party and they do lots of activism for the NHPUK, they're not really doing it for the NHPUK. You're doing it for the country. You're not doing it for me. You're not doing it for John. You're not doing it for Paul. It's for the nation. We love our nation and we love Jesus. So I'm doing this for my nation and for Jesus. On my leaflet clearly says we want sex education taken out of schools, and schools should be for teaching. The first subject I put on the list is Jesus and maths and English and history and science and things like that, rather than these other things, these sexual habits, what they're teaching the kids now. Like Paul mentioned, transgender stuff, which is criminal what they're doing. So, yeah, like I say, you know, all the effort we're putting in is for the nation. It's not for the party or for me or for any individual. You know, come and help us because we can save this nation. We're sliding back to the right now. The ship was sliding all the way to the left, and now it's slowly sliding back to the right. And it's unstoppable all across Europe. Geert Wilders, Marine Le Pen, AFD, the Vox, you know, it's all sliding back to the right now. And that is the right direction.
What about you, John? Your reflections on a year in leadership in the party?
Good. you like I said, we're getting noticed. All anybody who's anybody on Twitter knows who we are. They might not interact with us, but they know who we are. They've commented on our tweets, and we're very outspoken. You know what I mean? And I don't say things like I'm trying to get a council seat. When I get it, that's what it'll be. Just a matter of time. It's not that I'm going to fail. I will definitely get a council seat. And that's me northern positivity, that. And I'm a very positive person. Nothing puts me down. Nothing, I can't say that I can't do something. I've done everything, mate. There's only a couple of things I haven't done in my life. I haven't scuba dived and I haven't jumped out of a plane yet. But I'm going to be doing them two things. I'll tell you honestly, I'm that person. And I'm just dead confident. And as Pat said, I'm loving it. Once you get door knocking, and you get talking to people at the door, it's really exhilarating. You get a real feel for the area. You get more involved. You want to do things. I'm meeting people on a regular basis now, trying to take on their grievances, either as a group or personal. And I don't hold back, guys. Social services is going to be one of the things that I go after when I'm a councillor, and to try and make better, because we've got this social services is disgracefully run. Social services was a lot to do with why tens of thousands of girls got gang raped across the United Kingdom. Social services is why we have kids on uncontrollable crime rages. Not doing enough. They're not doing enough because, it's the lefties or whatever. I'm going to change that when I get in. And Oldham Social Services is on that list, I promise you. So we've got Angie and Andy involved now, and both of these girls are well knowledge with social services, and I have asked them to start getting up some articles about social services, how we can progress, go forward better with social services and things like that. And again, even if we just focused on that, that's going to save thousands of girls from getting gang raped, guys. It's going to save thousands of girls. It's going to bring men to court who should be in court. Getting onto the social services is a big thing, and it's what we're going to do as a party. It's one of the big things. What
I love about this party, John. What I love about this party is we've got that idealism that we're going to help people, we're going to redeem this nation. We'll face the big issues like immigration, like education, like housing. We'll face them, and we've got answers to these issues. But we're also rooted in the day-to-day reality of people's lives, and we're involved in initiatives at the grassroots level. Now, we started off as a local party contesting local elections. We've got to, before we run, we've got to walk. We've got to make progress at the local level. We've got to build up branches across the country. We want to put candidates up and make an impact locally first. And that's a hard, it's an ordeal to campaign in a democracy. It's like a military strategy. Each ward, you have to canvass, you have to post leaflets, you have to get to know the people. You have to become a champion of the local people in order to get their support. Once we've built up that local branch network, once we start to win council seats, then we move to the next level. The quicker, the better. But then we've got to become a force to redeem our whole nation. We've got ambitions to go as far as we can, but as I say, we've got to walk before we run. We've got to be practical. We haven't got our head in the clouds. Like the likes of Reform, as I say, they started from the top down. The remote, they're doing well. I just noticed in the opinion poll, they're up 4%. But if the Tories start to act tough on immigration, that will quickly evaporate. But we need to educate the British people and give the British people hope again. Not just from a distance, not just through the legacy media, but getting people involved in organisations, meeting up, going for a drink in the local pub, canvassing your local ward, developing ideas, educating each other, a grassroots movement that can change this country. I remember in America when they did this, the Tea Party movement and now the MAGA movement. Yeah, we've got to have big ideas on the national stage, but you've got to have that grassroots. It's got to be real. And we're a real party, we're real people. And if you come on board, you're welcome. You join in a family, in a sense. We get to know each other. We're very hospitable to each other. We visit. I mean, I've been over to Oldham, seeing John. I've been down to London, seeing. We travel around the country. Pat came up, talked. Pat is like, he's an example to every Briton out there. You know what can be done. If we had 1,000 Pats, we'd have saved this nation by now. I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We'd have leafleted all of the UK with 1,000 Pats. I'm door knocked it all as well.
If we have 500 John Lawrences, we'd have solved a lot of the local issues that have causing problems in this country. The Labour Party absolutely loathe and fear John Lawrence because he's exposing them for the frauds that they are. These people who claim to speak for the people, they're only speaking for themselves. You can see this with Keir Starmer. It's all about him getting power and money and control. As Pat said, you know, they're like Pol Pot. They want total control. I mean, for me, the song of the year in 2023 was Oliver Anthony. They want total control. The rich men north of Richmond. It's had 100 million hits on YouTube. If you've never heard that song, go and listen to it. Rich men north of Richmond. They want total control. And that's why they want to slow your car down to 20 miles per hour. But we're not going to give them that control. We are the resistance. We are the people's movement. We're the National Housing Party of the UK. Get on board and let's make a difference. Pat?
Yeah, yes, Gerald Fisher put a comment up earlier. There's been another attack in South Wales. I tweeted about it earlier. A pregnant woman got stabbed at a school, and apparently the person who's been arrested is a foreigner. That's a surprise.
Merthyr Tydfil. We're in Merthyr Tydfil, weren't it? 20 odd times she got stabbed. 20 odd times. That's what the report says. Because I got James read it out on TikTok earlier on. But yeah, if that's not non-English guy wants deporting, simple as.
I mean,
never mind deporting, John. You stab a pregnant woman 20 times, your life should end, mate. Full stop.
Well, a lot of people would be saying that. Right, we're coming to the end of our hour. Thank you, everyone.
Finish off.
John, wanted to know what's the word on the street about these three Tories who won the election in Hollingwood in your ward. What's the latest?
They'll be going independent.
So they're sitting as independent councillors now.
Yeah, they're sitting as independent councillors now because they've been suspended. Well, I don't know if you get suspended. I don't know if you can go as an independent. They've got to have a hearing.
Suspended from the Tory party.
You can. You've only been suspended from the party.
Yeah. So they're still on the council and they're independents. But, I mean, what people should be asking now in Oldham is why are them people councillors when they're bothered about Palestine and Israel, which is 2,000 miles away? It's nothing to do with Oldham. And this is what that some of these people are going to be like. They'll focus on just their issues and not the issues of all. So from now on, all the way till May, that's what's going to be on my face. But why are you voting people in who care about things that are 2,000 miles away? You know what I mean? I know there's people dying. There's people dying on our streets. Pat's just said someone froze to death in his car. Right? So, you know.
Also, John, in Nigeria, there's Christians being kidnapped and massacred every single month. And it's never on the news because the Zionists don't care about Nigeria.
No, you're right. They don't. But we'll come to the end of our hour. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you, everyone who's donated and stuff like that. Good to see you, Craig, Marcus, everyone in the chat. A really good chat again tonight. Thank you for all your support, guys. Keep it up. Bible class tomorrow. Our email admin is coming up on the bottom of the screen there. admin@nationalhousingparty.uk. If you want to join the Bible class. And we've got a couple of special guests tomorrow, actually, first timers. So it should be quite a packed Bible class. So thank you. Paul, do you want to say anything else?
Just keep your hearts going. Stay strong, folks. We shall overcome. It's good. Next year, 2024, that's the year of the National Housing Party. We shall overcome.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome.
Merry Christmas,
Thank you
everyone.
very much, guys. Thank you.
Happy New Year. God bless.